Where do you stand on Craig Wasson in that movie? Because there's two schools of thought on Craig Wasson in the movie. One is that he had too weak a leading man to lead, not a bad actor, but a weaker leading man to lead his movie. Or, no, it's perfect casting because he's a weak leading man. That's his character. He's a weak leading man who's just doing things on television and no, he just actually casts the character just perfect. I tend to go with that too, because I actually don't think he's a weak leading man. I know what they mean by when they say that, but he's a strong enough leading man to be the lead, but he's anonymous enough to be the character he's supposed to play. Well, it stars Melanie Griffith when she shows up. Well, just like Polly and Kale to go, well, you're waiting for this whole movie for something to happen, then when you watch Melanie Griffith, I guess she's it. Well, she comes on like a fucking house on fire when she enters the film. She became a star from that movie.
She did.
She got offered something wild because of Body Double, and then from that it was in Working Girl movies that even inside of that decade pierced through and excited us and this is against the grain. Something Wild was always that kind of movie for me. Like when I saw it, of course they copped out at the end, but just the kind of freewheeling spirit of it, I remember very clearly. Well, I saw it at the UA Safeway, and I saw it there, and it was one of those movies that I thought was so exciting. I can't even think about seeing another movie until I see that again. And so I saw it about 3 times in that opening week, and then I saw it a couple other times since then, and we loved it and whatever. And I remember I took a buddy of mine who wasn't part of the Video Archives group. He was he was a writer, and he kind of had a harder life. And I took him to go see it, and he's really enjoying it. He pointed out something amiss about the movie, and he told me about it. And I knew he was right, but I immediately dismissed it because I didn't want anything to ruin the film. And I was able to dismiss it. I watched it again in 2017. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I watched it again. And when the scene happens, it completely took me out of the movie. Okay, so here's the scene. It's when he goes and has this confrontation with Ray Liotta in the coffee shop with Melanie Griffith there. Now, there's a lot of things going on in here. He wants to take on Ray Liotta. He wants to get Melanie Griffith away from Ray Liotta, but he wants her to see him standing up to the guy. He wants her to see him save her and work it all out. So it's going on. Now we know Ray Liotta's not a joke. This is a dangerous cat, man. And you're playing with fire here. Then cops come into the diner and sit in the booth behind them. And it's like, well, tell the fucking cops. I mean, she's practically kidnapped, but even if maybe that might not work out as well in her eyes, right, as far as getting her away. But if this guy is as dangerous as he proves to be, and as we think he already is, and as he should know he is, just tell the cops. He witnessed an entire robbery. They brutalized the Asian kid. He pistol whipped the Asian kid in the store. He has enough to get Ray Liotta arrested right then and there. Okay, well, why it's there is for a comedy moment that he can't really do anything because the cops are there. He can't just punch Jeff Daniels, all right, because the cops are there. And then Jeff Daniels is like, hey, officers, how you doing? How you doing? So there's a joke, and that always got a laugh. But my friend who was street was watching the movie. Why isn't he just telling the fucking cops? I mean, he witnessed an entire robbery. They're looking for that robber. That kid is in the fucking hospital with a purple face. Anyway, it's just I couldn't get past it. But it was a big flaw. It was a big story flaw. It wasn't then. No, it definitely dimmed for me. But that doesn't matter. What really matters was how exuberant I thought it was at the time when I needed exuberance.
Okay, the thing is, in the case of Bonfire of the Vanities, is the fact that, actually I go back to Pauline Kael, because she actually said something perfect with Bonfire of the Vanities in particular. She says, the thing that's so crazy about Bonfire of the Vanities is De Palma had made Bonfire of the Vanities better than anybody ever could back in 1969 when he did the movie Hi Mom with Robert De Niro. Yeah. All right, this little hippie kind of movie he did that hit on even better than Thomas Wolfe's book. Exactly what he was talking about in that movie. So he didn't need to remake it. He didn't need to make it anymore. Yeah. Now, but the thing is also, again, going back to something Pauline Kael said about other filmmakers, is Bonfire of the Vanities is a mess, but it's the kind of mess that only a great filmmaker makes. hacks never go that far wrong. It's like a very talented guy who's just got the
It
wrong
has to be
idea.
a genius who lost it.
Yeah, it's
Or who went too far because he so believed in himself and he had the confidence.
yeah, it's more like it's just like he had a bunch of bad ideas and had the
all coalesced by the
talent
one.
of his and the truth of conviction of his bad ideas in that movie. All right, and I don't think he's lost it. I think he felt it hard.
I know he did, because he told me.
Yeah, I think he took it really hard, and he's been playing scrambling ever since. All right, but
Scrambling to find his footing again, which
yes, scrambling to find his footing again because
which
I think
which is it confidence?
no, I don't know if it's confidence. I think it's more like the fact that okay. I reached out with Bond. Well, he reached out with Casualties of War, and even though the film wasn't a success, got the best reviews of his entire career. All right, so it's like so he'd reached out before, but then so he reached out even more with Bonfire, and it didn't work. And I think you see when you look at the films he's been doing since, in the case of Raising Cain.
Right.
All right, he goes, okay, I'm going to go back and do what I do. All right, my thrillers. All right, and that'll be a cool ground. All right. All right.